Have you got loads of interests, or maybe just a few, or none at all? And you've been asking yourself, what is my purpose? What is the purpose in this life? And what am I meant to be doing? I haven't got all the answers, but I do feel like I'm definitely going in the direction where I feel like I have purpose and I have a lot more clarity around what I'm doing and what I'm here to do. And for those reasons, I thought I would share with you some questions that you can ask yourself that will clarify and make things a little bit easier, possibly, for you to know what to do next, what your purpose might be, and how you can serve people with the gifts and talents that you have. The first question is, what do you constantly read or watch videos about without it feeling like it's study? This could be anything. I'm telling you now, it's the thing that you overlook so much and you think that couldn't possibly be a purpose, a job, a career. It's going to be so different for everyone. Since I was very young, I had done self-development, self-care, nutrition and fitness for as long as I can remember. I would research it, read about it. For me, it's quite easy because I work in a bookshop as well. In this bookshop, whenever my colleagues are like, what are you reading? I always realize that the books that I'm reading aren't really books that a lot of people are reading. And I'm reading them because I'm interested in health, fitness, nutrition. I want to better know it. And for me, it's not boring. Like, these books are not boring. But to a lot of other people, they would be, and they would be hard work. Whereas for me, it's not hard work. So I guess, what is that thing for you where it's a topic that other people kind of find a bit boring? It's very specific, and it would be a bit of effort for people to kind of read about or to learn about. And for you, it just feels interesting. Question number 2 is, what stands out most about other people to you? It's, for example, you might notice certain things, qualities, habits. It might even be like people stand out to you because they're into that same thing as you. It could literally be like, you love skating and the only people that stand out to you is people who roll past on skateboards. It could be as simple as that. So it's asking yourself, sorry, that's like a bad example, but what stands out about people to you? So for example, for me, I thought I was just really judgmental and critical for a really long time. But because I'm very self-analytical and I know about self-development and I see it in a way that is positive, and for me, what stands out most about people is their strengths, but also their weaknesses. And I can really see their strengths. I can see the potential that they have within them and the weaknesses that are stopping them from meeting those strengths. And I've always been that way. So it's going to be different for all of you. Next question. What do you think others are missing in life or wish they could experience? What is something that you're constantly thinking, like, why don't more people know about this? Or I just feel like people are really missing out because they don't do this thing, or because they don't know about it as well. Maybe your thing that you're really interested in and your purpose is linked to something that is overlooked or something that most people don't know about and you feel like they should because it would benefit them. So for example, for me, it's nutrition. There's so much about nutrition that I'm like, oh wow, like, why don't more people know about these things? And especially like basic nutrition principles. And to me, it's self-care. And I grew up in Turkey, so when I moved to the UK, it was very obvious that there's a lack of like color on the plate and things like that. So yeah, my passion started very early. And I wish more people knew about these things. And I wish more people knew about these tips and tricks that I'm giving on here, which is why I have started making these YouTube videos. Next question is, what are you actually good at already? This one's really important, okay? Because if you're anything like me, where you have loads and loads of interests, you can easily think, oh, is that my purpose? Is that my purpose? Is that one? Is it that? And you could go on for ages because you're like really interested in those things. But just because you're interested doesn't mean you're good at it. And this is the point where you have to look yourself in the eyes and be really dead honest. For example, I love music. Like, I absolutely love it. But do I really, realistically, put in enough time to practice guitar, to practice songwriting? No, because I'm not that passionate enough for it to be supernatural to me. Like what we were saying about question 1. What do I study without even really realizing it? I can sing. I do improvise here and there. It would take a lot more effort from me to pursue that because, firstly, I'm not that good. I could become very good, but for ages I was battling that, you know. For ages I was like, I could put in more work, I put in more effort. This is the one. It wasn't, because I'm not already good at it. So I want you to be very real with yourself. What are you already actually good at? Next one. What do people ask you most for, or most about, or what do they ask for help from you for? When you think about that, what advice do people ask you for? Or do they come and ask you to fix something or to make something? For example, my boyfriend, he works in the darkroom, and people often message him for, you know, photography and analog photography questions and tips and tricks and developing film and all of these things. It's very niche. Yeah, so it's very niche because a lot of people want to know about that thing, but they're not naturally drawn to it to learn, whereas he just was and is and has that information from the top of his head. So people come and ask him for help. Mine is structural systems, improving your life, nutrition, fitness, self-development, because I've read so many books, I've watched so much videos about it. I've applied it, I've taken action on it, I've seen results, and I continue to do so. It's a real practice for me and a philosophy for me. What is that philosophy for you where people want to ask you about your philosophy and ask for help? Then, what would serve others that you already do? Now, I want you to think about service. What would serve others with something that you already do? Because there is, for example, I love photography and I've done freelance photography for a really long time. But personally, I don't find it serves people in the way that I want to serve people. But others will be different. Other people will be like, I love serving people with photographs. But for me, it feels not enough because it's not my purpose. And my actual purpose is where I get to see physical change and improvements in other people's lives through the coaching and guidance that I give them. To me, that is true service in my life. This is not going to be the same for everyone. But I want you to think about the thing that keeps coming up in throughout these questions. Can it serve people? How does it serve people? Because a true purpose will serve people, will give people the gift of your knowledge, your guidance, or your skill. You can also think about, for example, there's multiple hobbies. You can have hobbies and you can have a purpose. How can you tell the difference between them? Your purpose will help other people. Hobbies will only help yourself. And now don't take this wrong, because, I mean, you might have a purpose such as fine art painting. And that's firstly you're going to think, well, how is that serving people? But it comes from the intention behind the work that you're making. So you could literally only be interested in painting, and that is your only hobby and that is your only purpose. But you could make work that is a hobby work. So you make hobby art, which is more experimental, it's self-expressive in terms of like, it's more free, there's no structure to it. You're kind of like, oh, this has a meaning to me. And then the service work, the purpose work, is thinking, how can I use my skills, my knowledge, and my ability, so my painting, to serve other people? How can I bring them joy? How can I change their lives? How can I change and transform their spaces, inspired by the collaboration of them and their lives? So then that makes it purposeful. You can have both existing at the same time. Next question. If you didn't need money and you were to quit your job today, what would you fill your time with? And most people will come from a desperation mindset and say straight away, like, I go on holiday, I do this and that, all of that. Forget about that. Once it becomes normal, once it's normal that you don't need this job, once it becomes normal that you have all this free time, what would you start doing? What would you be drawn to? What would you be reading? What would you be watching? Where would you be going? What activities would you be filling your time with? Can it be taught? So for example, if it's something that you feel like, oh, I don't know how this would serve people. I feel like it's my purpose, but it's not obviously like, it's not directly impacting people straight away in like, for example, coaching would. Ask yourself, can it be taught? Can you teach it? Are you able to continue this field of knowledge and study or skill through sharing it with other people? Because it might mean that some things require you to be alone most of the time to create that skill, to practice it, to create purpose, to follow your purpose. And then once in a while you go, okay, once a month or whatever it is, I'm going to go teach it. I'm going to share it with the community. I'm going to give opportunities to other people. And I'm going to make sure that this lives on. Now, a lot of negative thoughts will be coming into your head about this purpose if you're starting to figure it out. Do not convince yourself that it's oversaturated. It's not. And I highly recommend you watching Your Weaknesses Are Your Strengths video that I made, because it's all about how you have a unique formula that will make you stand out no matter where you are or what thing you're doing. You have to own who you are and those things that make you you. Next point I want to make is to release the ego. I really struggled with this for a long time, from an insecure place. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be very, very rich. I mean, I would absolutely love to have money, but it's not the end of the world. I would love to fulfill those dreams I've had since I was a child of making myself known for what I do. But don't lead from that, because sometimes when we lead from there, it influences us in what we think is our purpose. For example, for a really long time, I was trying to convince myself that my purpose was to be a musician. And it's just silly. Like, it just becomes a distraction and it takes you away from what is actually important. And also when you do these do these other things that are ego driven, it may work, but it makes you really impatient and it makes you not do things properly. So, therefore, it's not going to be long lasting, and it's also, most importantly, not going to be fulfilling. And finally, do things in full. Stop taking shortcuts. Just keep moving in the right direction, and it doesn't matter how long it takes to get there. What matters is that you are on the path of your purpose, something that you truly believe in, that you value, and that you can share and serve other people with. And that way, you will feel fulfilled. But will it take 2 years? Will it take 5 years? Will it take 20 years? It could take till the end of your life. It doesn't matter. What you do as a career does not shape you, but what you do as your purpose on the side or as the main thing is what matters. You must gift your strengths, your unique abilities, your unique interests to the world to make this place a better one. So thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful for your presence here. I post every Sunday, so please do subscribe and like, and I'd love to hear from you below as well. And yeah, I'll see you till next time. Bye.